Hi folks, Dave, the Honest Audiophile. This is the RevoNext RH-215s, and these are my honest audiophile impressions. I want to thank RevoNext for providing the RH-215s for a review. Do greatly appreciate it, RevoNext. You rock. Alright, so the RH-215s from RevoNext. These are a 10mm dynamic and 4 balanced armature hybrid. They have a frequency response of 7 Hz to 40 kHz, an impedance of 17 ohms, sensitivity of 108 decibels, and a price tag of $60. Pretty straightforward package here. You get this little black box, and inside you're going to get your IEM, the cable, and 3 sets of tips, small, medium, and large. Very straightforward, very simple. Won't even bother to open the box. Alright, so the RevoNext. They have a pretty standard build. Very universal fit, small wing on it, fairly long nozzle, and a decent angle. Your typical 2-pin cable that you can get either with a mic or without a mic. And I find that the shell really isn't my styling. Don't really like this weird snail, clam, shell, whatever type of design that is. I think it's kind of ugly. You can get it in two colors, black and gold or blue and silver. And neither one really appeals to me, but hey, design is only one aspect of it. There you can see the big 10mm dynamic, and then the BAs are buried down inside. The tips are very nice. The stock tip is very good quality. They're conical shaped. They have this red stem in them. And I find that they fit very well. I have no problems whatsoever. The cable is standard fare for an IEM of this price point. It's an okay cable, nothing too spectacular. I was sent a model with the microphone on it. As far as fit and comfort, it's alright. It's nothing special here. It doesn't offend, but also it doesn't like really please me either. It fits in the ear okay. Ear hooks are slightly aggressive, and this part right here where it's kind of big going into the connections kind of gives me a little bit of problems. So I found that changing the cable does help with comfort. As far as isolation of outside noises, it's very well with that longer nozzle. They just go right in and they seal off the outside world very well. Find that probably about 60-65% of outside noises are blocked when you have a good seal. Medium tips work just well for me with the stocks. So replacing the stock cable with a other cable, something like one of these 111 cables or the cable from the 111 Leah or any of the other 2-pin connections that you have laying around. If it doesn't have a microphone, it does help a little bit with clarity, but overall the sonics weren't really changed. I just find that anything with an inline microphone tends to have slight issues with clarity. Okay, how do the RH-215s sound? The RH-215s are very much a fun sound signature. These are not anything that will be used as a monitor of any sort. These are not for critical listening in any sense of the imagination. The RH-215s have big bass, and I mean thunderous bass. If you like bass impact, the RH-215s would be an option. They have a lot of it. It reaches down into the sub bass, and it's a little bit more mid bass focused than sub bass present, but it is a very robust and girthy bass. It's not the most detailed, and it's not the most resolving, nor is it the most controlled. It is a little bit loose, and it has moments of just kind of jumbling together and going into one note mode, but man, it's got a punch to it. It's got some wallop in it, and it's fun, but it's not the most accurate, and it's okay for that type of sound signature. But I do wish that it had a little bit more control, a little bit more detail, and some better resolution to it. The mids do have some bleed that comes in from the upper bass and into the lower mids. It adds a little bit of body and warmth to it. These are a very warm sounding IEM. And the mids are very pleasing. They have this lushness to them. They're a little too overly lush, in my opinion. And they just have this pleasingness to them. Detail retrieval is okay. Resolution is all right. Just like the bass, it's not going to wow you, but it's also not going to disappoint you. Things aren't as well separated as I would like. There's not quite enough air to be separated, in my opinion, and space can seem a little cramped at times. Upper mids do elevate and you get a little bit of energy there. They don't really get into sibilance mode though. And then the treble. The treble does have a rolled offness to it. It's a little bit on the laid back, relaxed side. It has enough sparkle and energy to keep things engaging, but I wish that it had just a little bit more. And just like the mids, it tends to lack a little bit of space and separation and air. Soundstage on the RevoNext RH-215s is decent. It's not anything mind-blowingly wide or supremely cramped. It's about average in width. Does struggle a little bit with depth and layering. It's not the deepest stage, so things can get a little bit muddled up and a little bit compressed at times, especially on busier tracks. And then imaging is kind of three blobbish. It's here, and here. Doesn't really travel real well across the stage. There will be gaps at times as things move across. Overall, I find that the RH-215s from RevoNext are an okay sound. They're not anything that's offensively bad, or they're not anything that's going to just like blow my socks off and wow, I got to listen to these every day. They're just kind of, they're all right. I wish that they had a little bit more clarity, a little bit more separation, and not quite as thick and thumpy in the bass, and not quite as much bleeding into the mids. But they're not fatiguing, and they're not annoyingly bad. They're just kind of okay. Problem is, at $60, you have a lot of competition from lower priced and from upper priced, and even in the $60 price point. At the $60 price point, you have the TINHIFI T2s, and the TINHIFI, I'm sorry, not the T2, the T2 Plus. And the TINHIFI T2 Pluses just absolutely destroy the RH-215s when it comes to separation, when it comes to space, and being airy, and having proper tone and timbre, and more details, and better resolving. Has a better, more accurate soundstage with better depth and layering. And at $60, in my opinion, get the T2 Plus over the RH-215s, unless you just want big bass and really warm mids, and you don't look quite like the aggressive nature of the T2 Plus. For $50, you can get the Mele, the Triple and Mele. And the Mele also is just a better option. Again, you get better clarity, you get better control in the bass, you have nice impact, more accurate tone and timbre, a little bit more air and sparkle, and better separation and airiness in the mids and in the treble. And you have a deeper, more layered soundstage with more accurate imaging. And I just find that the the RH-215s from RevoNext are just okay. They're not anything special. And for $60, you really have to bring it to beat the contenders. And to me, the RH-215s from RevoNext is just another IEM in the price point. It's been Dave, the Honest Audiophile. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video. Speaking of next video, somewhere on the screen, subscription links and notification bells. If you haven't already, please check those off. And then don't forget to check out the links down below for all kinds of information, how you can support the channel, follow the channel, contact the channel, all kinds of good things down below, including music recommendations, gear recommendations, tier lists, all kinds of stuff. So check out the links down below. Don't forget to give a thumbs up or a thumbs down to the video, and enjoy the music, and honesty is the best policy.